going to be going live today with Chris Espinoza, the very funny Chris from San Diego, and learn a little bit more about him today and his comedy he's done, and also his stand-up comedy shows. I've been a fan of his for quite a while, so I'm excited to chat with him more. And if you haven't heard of him, go ahead and give him a follow at Chris E Comedy. He's a funny guy. So hey, there he is.
Right here?
Yeah, and you got your filters going. This is awesome.
I like it.
Hey Diego.
Here we
Hey
go.
Christian. Oh, look at
Hello.
fans coming up.
It's actually pronounced Christopher. I understand. It could be confusing.
Okay. There's also a Christian.
Oh
But
yeah. I do. Oh yeah. I do remember. Yeah, I know Christian Allen.
yeah, he's
Okay.
super funny. One of my
He is
favorites.
joining us right now.
He is
I'm
joining
trying
us.
to find the best
So
filter.
sweet.
Is this a good filter?
That-
Here.
All
I'm
right.
literally gonna do it like this. You guys like this?
I liked the
See,
holy
hey,
one you
hey,
had a little bit earlier.
What happened to it?
I don't know. I don't know what it was called.
Oh,
There
it
it
is.
goes. Yeah. We all pray to
Okay.
the Chris Espinoza.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That wasn't sacrilegious at all. Hey, Shar. I love her. I love her so much. Okay. So, hey, everyone. Today we're interviewing Chris, as I mentioned, and let's just get right into it. First of all, I've been a fan of Chris's for almost 2 years. I first saw him in November 21. So that's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
And you also produce shows, you do acting. I think the only thing you don't do is music, from what I know.
I will drop SoundCloud album like very soon.
All right.
Let's not throw that off the table.
Okay, it's not off the table for sure. Yeah, most comics are got their toes in a little bit of everything. So tell me though, how long have you been doing comedy?
I've been doing comedy for like 8 years. Like
8 years. That's right.
2017 is when I started, something like that.
Okay, and so how? I don't think I remember hearing your story about your first open mic or even what got you started in it.
Uh, okay, so like, I mean, the way I got started, literally a buddy of mine was like, we were drunk one night, and he's like, "Hey man, you make me laugh all the time." I was like, "Thanks." And then he's like, "You should try stand-up comedy." And there's an open mic at American Comedy Company. You try it out. And then I was like, "Oh, okay." And that's it. Like I didn't even really, because I did like acting and stuff when I was a kid, but I didn't like think about doing stand-up as much as I did enjoy it as well as like as a kid. Like I would literally have, I don't know, a couple hours of videotapes, VHS types of like stand-up comedy that I would watch over and over again when I was like 14.
What
But it
comics were
took to like,
they?
dude, like any comedy you could think of, like Greg Giraldo, Daniel Tosh, Dan Cook, Jim Gaffigan, like all these people that are like Sebastian Maniscalco, like these guys are like hitters now
Yeah.
or dead. Uh, and yeah, just like the first Comedy Central specials, that's what I would watch.
Nice. And so was your family pretty much like, oh yeah, this makes sense that Chris would get into this?
Yeah. It wasn't really like a surprise for my family. No, not at all. Like performing has definitely been something that's been in my life for a while.
Yeah. And how has that changed throughout the years? Like from your first open mic, I mean, did you just totally crush that first night at ACC?
No, nobody does. I think everybody. Nobody. If you're crushing immediately, I mean, or if you
All
think you
downhill.
crush immediately, I'm assuming you lack self-awareness and you're psychic. That's all I'm gonna say. If you think you murdered the first time you went up, I really doubt it.
Yeah.
But no, I struggled. I still bomb now like anybody else, but like yeah, I mean, I was just taking L's like every time I would go up for sure.
What would you tell yourself when you were getting on? You're like, okay, I've not been successful at this the last few handful of times. Just gonna do it again anyway.
Yeah, no, pretty much. Because like just to touch back, like in high school, I did like competitive acting and stuff like that, and I was bad at that. And then as the years went on, I would just keep getting better. The first year, I got like no awards because they would like rank people 1 through 7. You get trophies and shit like that. Um, and I would never place. I would never advance ever. And then the second year that I started doing it, I advanced like 3 or 4 times or whatever. And then the third year I did it, I was like literally in every final, going to like national tournaments and state tournaments because I just figured it out. Like I just got it, and I was so in my mind I'd already prepared to be like, all right, I'm just gonna suck at this for a bit, and then eventually I think I'll get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that so much. I love that mindset like a lot. Hey, Billy. Billy says, I call him Bill now, actually. He's a Bill. What up, big dogs? Had Chris on my show. He never disappoints. Great dude. Have a good Sunday. Agreed. He's a great dude. Um, yeah. So that mindset of just like, I know I'm going to suck at this and I'm just going to keep going. I think that's something that's so unique to comics and something that I admire so greatly in them. Do you have, I mean, has there been a time though where you've been like, yeah, I think I'm out. I don't think this is for me.
No, no, I never. I mean, sometimes, yeah, okay. I'll be honest. I'll have intrusive thoughts, 100%. Like when a set doesn't go well, but the idea of quitting never really crossed my mind. It's like no, I I think it's more like an inevitable thing. I'm like I'm putting all the time and effort into this. This will all fall into place eventually. Like it's just a dip right now. No biggie. Keep it moving.
Right. For sure. Do you prefer acting or comedy?
Yeah, yeah. I prefer stand up. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, the acting stuff. I mean, I like the money. I made a lot of money doing acting, make commercials and stuff like that. But like, I feed off the audience. That I like the live audience. I've always loved the live audience. When I did theater, I think my biggest problem with theater was that I had to share the laughs and glory with other people.
Oh.
And that's literally sincerely dog shit. No, I want it all for me. And then stand-up comedy came around, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. I get all of the laughs. No one else.
Yeah, that's really funny. It's funny too because I watched you in some like the sketches that you and like gosh, I'm so sorry, I forgot the name of it. Like Team Laundry, I think it's called. You guys do those little sketches or whatever.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and so it's great because you really are kind of, I'm like, damn, he's either been doing this for a really long time and he's just like naturally good at this. You are very good and you look very much in flow when you're acting, which is
Yeah,
why, and it's so funny. It's like obviously all about timing. So yeah.
it's second nature for sure to do acting. I mean, I do love acting too because like there's more. You're only as good as your partner. You know what I mean? So like if like I know I do a lot of those sketches I was with Raul Zambrano, and he's very talented like as far as directing and just acting in itself, and just to be able to play and work with somebody like that makes my job way fucking easier. So
Yeah.
yeah, shout out to Raul Z, baby.
Yeah, he's great for sure. And I think one of the things that also kind of caught me, well, here's the thing. When I first saw Chris Espinoza, it was in Pacific Beach that at Mavericks. And you were hosting, yeah, you were doing the show.
I think it was for Sam, right? I think I did a guest set that night.
Oh no, yeah, you did do
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
Right, sorry, you would.
yeah.
And you're so funny. And I kind of learned a little bit more that like, oh, you're a local comic here from San Diego. And I was like, oh, this is local San Diego comedy. This is cool.
Yeah.
Like I can do this. And so that plus I had just gone to see like Theo Vaughn and got, kind of introduced to like the comedy store in La Jolla.
Yeah.
I was like, I think I'm just going to start exploring San Diego comedy more.
Oh, yeah.
And then I realized that not everybody was as funny as Chris Espinoza. And I was like, okay, there are different. And then I started going to open mics and I was like, oh, interesting. And I started seeing you at open mics and I was like, okay, cool. This is where he works it all out. So all of that to say that we can all kind of give Chris Espinoza thanks that Paradox even exists because it was that teaser of good comedy that I was like, oh, this is what it must be like. And I think it was like we got in for free and I was like, oh, this is like a cheap night out and it's fun and, whatever. So, I don't think I've ever told you that. So thanks.
Oh, no, yeah. I'm unaware of that. No, for sure. I mean, I knew that's how I met you that night with Sam Tripoli. Which is funny. I wasn't like because I was producing that show that night, and so I hadn't even planned on being on the show. Because sometimes, like as a producer, you get the producer hat on. You're like, shit, there's X amount of people on the show. I didn't anticipate that. I don't need to be on this show this time. But Sam was actually the one who was like adamant about it. He's like, dude, what? You like get on the show? Just do 5 minutes. I don't give a fuck. Like this is, it's fine. I'm like, all right, I'll go up. And I went up at a good time too because the guy before me did not do well, and that's just the reality of it. And he helped me because I just shit on him. I'll be honest, I can't remember the guy's name right now at the top of my head, but like yeah, he struggled, and I just played with that and went into my shit.
Yeah, and that was actually who I'd gone to go support because he was a friend of a friend. So he went up,
all right,
he
awesome. Hell
bombed,
yeah.
and
Shout
I
out to
was
that
like,
guy. Still a
yeah,
cool guy. I liked him after the show. He's a nice dude.
never talked to him again. But he totally bombed. He had a
Never,
full on panic
never see him
attack.
again.
Never saw him again. I think he's from LA, to be fair. But
Okay.
but you went up and right after, and you're like, and basically something along the lines of like, you just witnessed like a guy's mental breakdown. And I was just like laughing my ass off. I
Yeah,
was like,
funny.
oh my God. But you just were able to bring the room back up because he had gone and
Yeah.
everyone was like, what am I watching? And you were just so quickly able to pick up the room. And I was like, oh, wow, that's cool. Because you can feel it as an audience member. You can feel it when that energy is kind of off because someone just bombed or they said something weird or just kind of crossed the line or whatever. And then to be rescued from that as an audience member is always such a relief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I mean, like, it's pivotal too, like, because sometimes I don't do this as much, but like, it was my show, so I was in the room. You know what I mean? So I could kind of feel the energy and see what was being said. You know, and I think that's definitely super important as for like as a comic is like be in the room so you know like what the energy of the room is, what they've touched on, and especially like let's say you're a crowd work guy too in general, like you don't want to say the exact same shit like this guy just asked 5 minutes ago, like all these things come into play.
Yes.
So
Amen. Preach. Because, okay, we're going to get into your crowd work stuff, but it's so obnoxious as an audience member to see like 3 comics go up and they're all asking like, so what do you do? And
yeah,
it's like, we've already heard
yeah,
this before. Like
no,
you should have been listening to the
100%.
other comics.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I do want to talk about that because when I originally saw you, I feel like you were doing just like a lot more stand-up sets. And then
yeah.
you kind of move more into crowd work. Is that something you had always kind of been going towards? Is that where you saw the trend going, or you feel better? You know, that's kind of your favorite, whatever.
Uh, yeah. I guess it's. I started to want to do because I didn't drop any stand-up clips on my Instagram, and I didn't really want to drop material. And I saw that, yeah, that was kind of the new trend of dropping crowd work clips. And yeah, I mean, any of the off the cuff stuff that I would do well, and I feel like I was comfortable enough doing it that I was like, all right, I'm just gonna work at this particular skill for a little bit, and also
Yeah.
not write was just like cool. I'm not gonna write now.
But how terrifying is that though? Because you're relying on an audience to like be good.
To dictate it. Yeah, I mean, sometimes the audience could be bad, and you just pull it out of them. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, I mean, it is a little nerve wracking for sure. But at this point, I've done it so many times, like it's just
Yeah.
whatever.
I was going
Yeah,
to say though, because your stand up, like your written jokes are good. Like I remember that
yeah,
being part of it
yeah.
and like, okay, that's really funny. And so when I kind of saw you transition, or I guess paid attention more to what you were doing as far as moving into crowd work, I was like, does that feel, I mean, did you get any feedback from the community? Were they like, oh yeah, keep doing your set, or like, yes, keep doing the crowd work or whatever?
Uh, yeah. I mean, it's mixed. It's mixed reviews from people for sure. Some people love crowd work. Some people are just like, well, why don't you write some fucking jokes? How about we do that? How about you do the thing we're all here for?
Right. Yeah.
Um,
The good thing is,
but no, I mean,
yeah,
yeah,
I
sorry,
was
go
gonna say
for
the
it.
good thing is like, but you can, like it's not like you started stand up and you were just automatically jumping in doing crowd work. That was the only thing that you have ever done ever. Like you have also written
Yeah.
jokes. So I think that that's kind of for those people who are saying that it's like not like you don't know how to write a joke. You do.
No, no, yeah, exactly. And I think that's also comes into play too, where you definitely want to like, you don't want to just start 3 months in and all of a sudden you're just like doing crowd work at like every mic, and it's like no, like figure out the craft, understand like how to structure a joke, how to command a room just on jokes alone, and then kind of branch out, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Has there ever been similar crowd work clips are super funny and actually being in the audience before, very funny. Is there any been stuff where you're just like that just crossed the line, never gonna use that? Or we're just
Uh,
gonna maybe
no,
escalated too much?
that escalated too much. No, not really. I mean, I don't. I'm not. I'm unapologetic. I'll talk about whatever. I've talked when people go to prison or I'm trying to think. One person talked about her dead husband. That was kind of weird, but I tried to turn it around with that. Like anything, you can turn anything into being funny for sure. There's no limits on that.
Yeah, yeah. Have you, okay, yeah, because I've seen some of the clips and I'm just like, oh my God, don't yell at your audience, bro. Have
Oh
you ever
yeah,
like got too
yeah.
aggressive
No.
and then they're
I'm literally the king of yelling at the audience right now. I've slipped into this new trend where I'm trying to whip the audience into shape right now. But
well, I
it's
was
like
gonna
it sometimes, yeah, for sure, it comes off aggressive, but it's like I don't know, it's been working so really well. Like I literally did a show on Thursday where like a lot of people were not doing well, and it was just like, all right, I'm gonna yell at you.
yeah.
I'm gonna whip you guys into shape, and I literally did like two jokes, and the rest of it was just crowd work, messing around
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I've definitely seen that. I mean, I've seen comics lose it on an audience, right? And it's just not funny,
Yeah,
and you're just kind of like scared he's gonna go hurt someone. And
yeah,
then, but then you get up, and I would say like you are aggressive with an audience, but it's always has this tone of like, this is just it, like this isn't just like you know that I'm
yeah.
kidding, right?
I'm
And
fucking
so
around.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think some people get sensitive to that and they're like, oh, I don't like when crowd work comics like bully an audience. And I'm like, but are you watching though? Because he's kind of
yeah.
not, like
There,
he's obviously joking
yeah. There's a line. There's bad crowd work.
for
That
sure.
that is that does exist.
Yeah. Or there's just actually like ranting comics who just really will lose it. I mean, I'm just like, why are you yelling at us?
Right.
Like we want to laugh. You're just not making us laugh, you
Yeah,
know?
no. I
Yeah.
mean, no. I'll give an example where I've never lost it with a crowd doing crowd work or got like upset at that moment. It's all in jest. The only time I literally got upset was I did a show. I did very well that night. I was on a high, and then I go to ACC afterwards, which is only 3 minutes. I just did a set. I did 20 minutes. Like I do this type of shit all the time. It's like I just had a good set. There's no reason for me to do a mic, but I do it anyways.
Yeah.
Pretty much more often than not. And I go to the mic. The crowd's rowdy, and I think this is definitely prior to me, like definitely way prior to me doing more crowd work and being comfortable with it. But I'm just trying to do material, which I just did that did well, and like this guy just kept interrupting every little thing that I said to the point where I just snapped. I was like, "Yo, I'm trying to do fucking jokes. You like? Are you kidding me? Like we can take this up. We can take this upstairs right now." Like a straight psychopath, just like yelling at this guy. He never met me upstairs. He never did. He never came up there.
Yeah, and especially I think when you watch these clips of like comics getting like punched in the face or shit thrown at them, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
I always think about the crowd work comics. It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
there's always a little bit of danger in that.
yeah, for sure.
So it doesn't sound like there's been this time when you probably went too far. Then, did you ever kind
No,
of walk off stage and be like, I should have pushed that harder. I know I could have been funnier on that at that.
I don't know about push harder, but I mean, every time I get off stage, for sure, I think of like, oh, why didn't like? There's a lot of like gimmies, especially with crowd work, like because in the moment it's hard, like it's hard to figure out those things, but afterwards, like, oh, I should have said this, I should have said that. I can't believe I didn't say that. Like these are all easy. I have those moments, but I never regret anything I say, for
Is
sure.
it hard to shut that off when you're like in just regular conversation or like at
Uh,
the DMV?
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I was hanging out with some regular people yesterday, and that's yeah. I don't have a filter for sure. Like I'll just say shit, and I'm like, oh, okay, you're like not comics, right? Because I was hanging out and I was doing this story because they were talking about weddings, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember I remember that one time I ruined my brother's wedding. And they were like, what? I was like, yeah, yeah. Little wedding, and I was doing the best man speech. And then in the middle, I go like, and I'm like, yeah, well, my brother's wife, she's gonna be a great mom. That's all I said. But at that point, literally nobody knew she was pregnant.
Oh
Like
no.
nobody. It was like my brother, my dad, and my mom, like this, like very close family knew that she was pregnant, and I just said that, and I just like do this dramatic pause because I could just see everybody's face. I'm like, did we not all know that? We didn't know that, didn't we?
Oh
We
no.
definitely didn't know that. So I'm explaining the story. I was like, yeah, that was fun, and then like now me and her relationship isn't the same. And that's usually what I thought I would hit, like they would hit with them, and it just bombed. It just bombed super hard. They felt awkward. It's like, oh, this guy
Yeah,
sucks.
right. Like, wow, did you hear what he did at that wedding? Yeah, that's so funny. Some of these people just don't know how to like, I don't know. What do you think draws people to comedy? What do you think that makes someone like get it versus the people who just refuse to like get it?
Refuse to get it?
Or maybe they're not refusing, they just don't.
I think, okay, here's the biggest thing I think with comedy shows where people aren't necessarily as invested as others. It's just ticket price.
Oh, really? Explain
Legitimate.
that.
Well, there's a different audience member between somebody who just walked in for a free open mic or somebody who paid $20. That's the biggest thing. Because when it's a free show, you don't know what to expect. You might not even be a fan of comedy. Maybe somebody else, hey, my buddy has a guest list, you should come. So that's kind of like where that environment comes for as far as an audience. But when you buy a ticket, for the most part, like you're invested, you understand what stand-up comedy is about. Like you know what to expect on a lot of different levels. And so, yeah, I think that's a huge factor. I mean, you'll still get that because, like, yeah, you'll buy, like, I bought 3 tickets. I'm bringing 2 of my friends. But, like, for the most part, when somebody is buying a ticket, they're generally more invested.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I guess that makes sense. I just thinking about like, well, bar shows for sure. I just think it depends on the venue too. Because if you're going to like a free open mic at a club or something, like people know what they're getting into.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you're like at a bar, like there's a game on or something,
Yeah,
people are gonna be like, "What is this?"
trying to watch the Padres lose again. You're like, yo, come on, get out of here.
Yeah, for sure. Since you have been in the scene here for a bit, have you seen like the audiences change or like the comics change over the last several years? And what does that look like?
Uh,
Or is it all the same as always?
No, I mean the landscape is. I think comedy has gotten better. Like before COVID, I felt like comedy in general was coming on like a stride. There was like more shows, there's more people coming out, and then COVID hit, and then it just took a giant dip. And now, like this past year, I also feel like it's rearing back up, especially when you got all clubs open, the don't tell shows, a lot of brand new comics coming through. It's like really, I mean, this town's a sleeper. This town is like if you're a new comic and you want to get better, actually don't come here. Never
No,
mind.
don't.
Don't come here. There's way too much stage time readily available to you. No, but like, no, for sure. Like, if you're a newer comic, like, this is a pretty good scene to like really get chops in. You know, especially if you don't want to tackle a New York or an LA like that, or even in Austin. Like, this is a town that has plenty of stage time and gives you the ability to grow. And there isn't very many comics as far as competition is concerned.
Yeah.
It's a younger crowd out as far as like comics right now. Like I'm the old head right now. Like all the people that I started with are gone for the most part. There's a couple people still sticking around, but like it's very young.
Yeah, that's funny you say that. I got a random message from somebody. It's actually a comic who I've seen at the Comedy Store, but not regularly, but he's just kind of someone who used to do it. And he goes, I see that you're a big comedy fan. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, it's a really young crowd right now. Like, and I'm like, this guy's maybe in his 50s. I was like, yeah. I was like, but I've seen you at the Comedy Store. He's like, it's too young. I was like, okay, well, I mean, they're still making me laugh. I don't know what to tell you.
100%.
So speaking about those other comedy scenes that you mentioned, I know that you've gone up to like LA and done shows there. Have you ever thought about maybe transitioning out there, going to Austin? I know we're losing Michael Friedman to New York.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's a Jewish guy. He's just happy to be in New York. He's eventually the gravity was going to take him there. He's a New York guy. He's the most New York guy I've ever met in my life. Yeah, no, I think I'm in between LA and Austin. Austin seems to be like the move with the mothership, becoming such an entity, and just like the scene in general. I guess it kind of just depends on how the acting stuff is going, because that would really deter. Like if acting is kind of taking off and I'm having some success, that's all going to be in LA.
Yeah.
I mean, right now they're right. So like I literally haven't done an audition in like weeks for the most part. Like, but yeah, if it kicks off, if I get an acting, it's LA. If I don't, I'm going to Austin. Like that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just want to really quickly read this comment from Vincent Woolridge. Says, love you, Chris. So funny. I agree. So funny.
Oh, hey, what's up? What's up, man? How we doing, baby? I can't see any of these comments. I'm not sure. Am I supposed to say something to these comments, or you got it?
I'm just reading them. Sometimes I can pay attention and my attention's on point, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know how to read them. So yeah, no, it looks good. That's funny though. You can't see them. Can't see the comments.
I don't see any comments. I just see that Christian Allen joined probably 20 minutes ago.
He's probably not still with us, but okay. So yeah, we were talking about. Oh, so you've gone to the Comedy Store and there's Blaze. $17. Oh, I actually want to talk to you about that. That was on my list of questions too. You have kind of developed this really great camaraderie, this great group of comics around you,
Yeah.
who, you know, I got to see in action as well when you were filming your crowdwork special. And there's something about that that kind of like brought a tear to my eye because comedy can be so competitive. And I hear it every single day from comics. This person sucks. This person stabbed me in the back. This person did this. This person's shady,
Yeah.
whatever. But like seeing you guys, and I'm sure you guys have your own stuff going on, but it's like, how did you somehow like, how do you pick and choose like who you want to surround yourself with in comedy? Because you had like Diego filming, you had like good comics on the line. Blaze was on the lineup. Like,
Yeah.
how do you figure that out?
Uh, I don't know. I think I just luck out. I just happen to like I'll be in the open mic room when they're up. You know, that's really all it is. That's why I definitely if newer comics just get up as much as possible because you don't really know who's watching. You know what I mean? Because those first couple times that I've seen Diego or Carlos, like it's like okay, these guys are funny.
Yeah.
You know, they got something, and you know I'm all about investing in newer people. Like some people are like kind of deter, you know, hanging out with the younger comics, but like I'm all about it because I feel like most of the people that what I started with, as far as like the older guys, were kind of half and half as far as welcoming. I didn't feel that welcomed, especially with veterans that have been doing it for a while. So like I try to be the opposite of that, or at least I want to give the opportunity for people like that, like to come to me like, hey, you know, give me some spots that believe in my abilities, you know.
Yeah, I think that that's what's really unique and something I always found like really endearing about you because you look at not only like the newer comics or people just starting out, but you kind of help mold them and stuff. But you're also picking the funnier comics. You're not just like picking somebody because they're kissing your ass, you know? Or maybe you do. I don't know. Not from what I've seen because your lineups are good.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not. I because you know I do help book Madhouse, and I've never necessarily booked a lineup purely on because like they've been kissing my ass or they get like buddy book and stuff like that. I've never really been about that because I've seen that happen before, and then that'll hurt your lineups. You know, it's like I'm ultimately trying to put the best show forward. That's it. And, you know, I get plenty of stage time. I don't need to branch out and try to like get these side shows. It's like no, I'm just trying to put the best show possible. That's it. And if you're
Yeah.
funny, you get up. If you're funny, and then also just if you're just at it, you know, if you're at it every night at Madhouse, like I feel like you're astronomically ahead of a bunch of other people because you're avidly going after it every day. Like this is something, you know, and you could be the funniest person in the world, but like for me, it's like it's not the funniest person in the world that makes it. It's the person who doesn't quit, who's just been striving the whole time. That's really just getting after it, taking the L's night after night, you know?
Yeah,
And right,
absolutely.
he was both, yeah.
For sure. Marshall, is that your friend? Marshall is on here calling out
I know,
Rich
Marco.
for he thought he'd be at the early birds dinner special. Lots of
Early
people.
bird dinner stuff. That feels like an old man thing.
Yeah,
I feel like
he's talking about
he's trying
Rich
to make fun of
Gross. I don't know.
Rich. It's gross. Okay. I don't know who that
These
is.
are all your fans. These are all your people. Yeah, I love that. And I think that that's something that people, I mean, I see it all the time. People are just kind of booking their friends and it really deteriorates the lineups. And I'm just like, you know what? But you're booking the newer comics, but you're booking the funnier ones, which is really,
Yeah.
really cool. Has there been anything that you would like to see? Like you kind of wish that the scene was like this way or that way a little bit more. Hey, Comedy Store La Jolla, I love you so much.
Oh, yeah, no, nothing really. I mean, I think the community is pretty welcoming, you know. I think there's some comics out there that I wish I would see doing like Madhouse mics more often, but you know, to each his own. People have also there's also things like people have their own lives. They work their 9 to 5s. Some of them have kids. I don't know. Like there's all these other factors, but for me, it's like if there's stage time, which is pretty much readily available at Madhouse, they're trying to get it, even if you have to wait at the bottom of the list. Oh, that's that. Okay, I'll give you one thing that which certain things in the community would be changed is that let's not complain so much, baby. Yeah, you know what I mean. We all get the privilege of doing comedy. It stinks. Getting bumped and having to wait to the bottom of the list. But like, hey, like that's just what it is. Uh, especially when I started first 2 years, like it wasn't unheard of to have like literally 9 to 10 people get like I'll be fifth on the list and I don't go up till I'm 20th because just people came in, popped in, and that's just the way it was.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And like it's been better as the years gone on. Like people have kind of not making the pop ins or whatever as adamant, but like it's just the way of the game, dude. Just be undeniable, keep showing up. People recognize that. You know.
Yeah.
I got to the position that I am at just literally just working at it. Like I would do sound at Madhouse for free for like 3 months, just doing sound, just
Yeah.
listening to comics, just being around, showing face. You know those
That
things matter.
the work ethic of some of the comics who I see sometimes, I'm just like, it's so unique because stand-up comics have this who really wants it and who also tends to be very funny. This work ethic is just like, it almost is like if you had moved this work ethic into anything else, y'all would be like millionaires, you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like, it's so frustrating to see it not pay off for the comics who I feel like it should be paying off for. And I think that
Hmm.
that's part of my control freak nature is to create paradox because I'm like, at least let me try to help push this along a little freaking bit, you know?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
it's super frustrating to see you guys hustling all the time. You're making so many sacrifices, some that I'm sure I don't even know about. And it's just like you guys are putting everything on the line for this thing that you love to do and that you see bringing joy to people. And I just like wish you all a little bit more respect for it. Damn it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, stand-up comedy is like on the lower end as far as like careers too. Like you see it all the time where like these actors or like podcast, like that podcast, but like reality stars to just try to like do comedy because it's like this is the last result. This is all I have. It's like literally I'm working my ass off for this shit, and you're
Yeah.
just popping in like this is like your last resort.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I can only imagine what that feels like.
Yeah,
Um,
it's frustrating.
yeah. My gosh. What is a day? So with all that work ethic and everything, because your nights are so busy, I see you going multiple spots a night and kind of like talking to people and then doing mics. What is like, and making content.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what is like a day in the life of Chris Espinoza look like when you're trying to manage all this stuff and producing shows?
And producing shows.
How do you time how do you manage your time?
How do I manage my time? I poorly. Very poorly. I mean, a lot of my mornings, like I wake up, I try to find a video to edit, and that's like, I don't know, like an hour. It's crazy how like one minute
Yeah.
clip could literally take me an hour because I'm captioning, I'm trying to like bet my best to like beat the algorithm, and anything with cursing, I try to like take out, so that takes like more time. Luckily, I have like an iPhone, so it's all kind of convenient in my phone. Um, yeah, so like that's part of my day. Also, you know what I recommend for people, and people are gonna hate me, but like try to work out at some point.
Oh,
Walk around a little bit, because like I always said, like if you're physically feeling well, mentally everything else falls into place. And so just take that time for yourself. So I literally have like an hour or two of working out, um, and then uh, and then I watch a lot of tape. If I gotta be honest,
yeah.
I do watch a lot of tape. I'll go back and watch stuff that like that didn't do well or did well, or listen to audio that from the night before like over and over again compulsively. Like I'll listen to a 5 minute open mic over and over again for like 30
Yeah.
minutes sometimes. So
I believe it. I think that's why you're good though, right? It's paying off.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, and I'll be also transparent. That's not every day.
Yeah.
That's not every day. Sometimes I get the editing thing, and then the rest of the day is like me smoking pot and like scrolling, and then I'm like, oh shit, it's 7. I gotta go do some
Yeah.
mics. So, but as long as I feel like as long as you get in your mind, like sometimes you do have those days. I think you can keep going.
Yeah.
You know. You know, like get over frustrated, like, oh, like I dropped the ball this day. Just get it the next day. You know what I mean? I compare comedy to working out a lot too, because it's like I used to be very heavy, used to weigh like 250, but it was like, you know, inevitably with this consistently, I got to the shape that I like. I weigh 175 now, like I'm in good shape, and that just took consistency, just being there all the time. And sometimes I didn't feel like it, but you do it anyways. You know, there's times where like, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I get into anxiety and depressive mode, and I'm like, I don't want to do a mic. Like, fuck this. I'm gonna stay at home. But like that, those are also the times where you really got to push yourself and get yourself out there.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
100% true. Where do you think, where do you get that from? Do you listen to like motivational stuff? Do you read books? Do you, I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. I'm also a psychopath. Yeah, for sure. I'll probably get hate for this, but like, you know, again, I'm not going to condone everything Andrew Tate says.
Oh my God, Chris.
But
Canceled.
I'm
We
saying
are.
we should. Yeah, we are. I'm like, we're gonna lose everybody. But like people like David Goggins, probably a better one. Jocko. I do listen to their motivational stuff, like to like get my head in the right spot. Like I've lifted weights listening to Jocko's motivational thing for like 45 minutes. Like I've
Damn.
definitely done that.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
Also, therapy. Boy, some of you are out of your mind. Take therapy. Go an hour a week. If anything, it just gets you there. For that 1 week,
Amen.
you're considering it. You're like, hey, these are the things that are going on in my head. Let me acknowledge it.
Yes. Thank you for saying that, especially in the comedy community. Like we can joke about it and stuff, but there is, some pretty heavy stuff in there too.
Yeah.
Christian says comedy is exactly like working out. That's a perfect comparison. Just got to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Randy says, "What's up with the filter, dude?" He's being holy. He's glowing.
Yo, over. Randy, don't call me out.
Marshall says, "Knew that already. Probably that you're psycho."
Oh yeah,
He's
yeah, yeah.
referring to.
That checks out. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really valuable advice. Absolutely, for sure. So thanks for sharing that. I'm also wondering, since we have you here and you're such a fountain of wisdom here, what do you recommend for people who are like producing shows? Like, what makes a good show? Because the shows that you
Uh,
produce have been really good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think it goes back to what I said, where it's like, don't buddy book. Don't just book a person on your show because you think it's going to put you on another show that's successful. It's like, try to just book the best lineup you have. When you book a host, make sure people kind of avoid this and think that like hosting is like people don't want to host because you're the first comic up there. But God, the host is so essential in any show. This guy literally sets up your show. He literally gives everybody the idea of like what this show is going to be, and you want him to be like the strongest person, you know, for the most part. Which is hard because, like I said, like even the stronger people, are like I don't want to, but you need it. It's so essential. Top small lineups. I can't tell you how many shows that I see where there's like 7 or 8 comics or whatever on the lineup. Which with Madhouse's showcase or like with La Jolla Best Of, they all do 8-minute sets. That's what it's set up. But like if you're doing these independent shows at a brewery or a wine or whatever the fuck, like those lineups should be shorter. Those should be a 75-minute show with 4 comics that are strong, including your headliner.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. That's super
yeah.
valuable. I wanted to really quickly, I didn't realize how that we're running out of time. I wanted to go over through your tours. You do a little bit more travel.
Yeah, yeah.
What has that experience been like, and pros and cons of it? What do you like? What is just like something that we wouldn't know about that? Doing comedy on the road, being on the road.
Well, everybody. I mean, any comic will tell you being on the road is super valuable. It first of all, you get more time. You know, also you're in an environment that you're not used to. I'm in San Diego most of the time, but like, do my jokes work in Garden City, Kansas? Do my jokes work in Des Moines, Iowa? Like, are you universal no matter where you go? And those are the types of things you're not going to get unless you're traveling. You know, I do happen to work for a guy that hooks it up pretty well. Aaron Entertainment, shout out, dude. But like if you get a chance to like just go out there and just do some road shows in general, even if it's not a lot of pay, just go ahead and do it just to get the experience and get more time in. Like I did a show again. I'm bringing back Raul. But I did a show with Raul several years ago. Through a little mini tour ourselves, got a bunch of shows together. And one of those shows I was featuring, I did pretty well. And just because of that show that I did for $40, uh, it created me establishing a relationship with a guy that I do runs with now. Like just purely on doing that random show in Portland, it turned into literally 3 or 4 years of work now. Because of it.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
it's an advantage to get out there, meeting other people, seeing that's another thing, meeting and network with other people in different scenes, because that was exactly what it was. Just me networking with a guy who was producing a show, and he recommended me.
Yeah. I think something else that's unique, I'm just thinking about this now, because you use the word network, and that's such a dirty word for so many comics, right? Because they're like,
Right.
it gives me like the slimy feeling, blah, blah, blah. But you are not, from what I learned about you and kind of know about you, you're really not like a slimy, like kiss-ass dude. How do you how do you create genuine networking without being like gross about it? Because then I genuinely, and I have comics hit me up all the time who are just doing that gross, slimy, like they don't really care about me. They just want to know about Paradox thing, which is a fair thing, but don't be slimy about it. So how do you establish navigating how to do that?
I don't know. I don't know if networking is probably the wrong word, at least from my sense. I just try to be as genuine as I can. Like I'm just creating a friendship with you, and if something comes out of that, that's great. If not, like I'm not broken up about it.
Yeah.
You know, that's all. That's my network. My network is like me trying to be your friend, and if it clicks, then it clicks, and if it doesn't, then it's fine.
Yeah, for sure. It's one thing to like try to create a friendship because you see them, you're like, oh, and they run this show, or like this is the person who runs a show. Let me try to get to know them. Versus, I'm going
Yeah.
to make this person my friend,
Yeah.
because they booked the show, and it's just you can automatically feel it sometimes, and it's like, oh,
No, you can. You can tell immediately when somebody's being disingenuous,
yeah,
and so it's a red flag for sure.
yeah, it is. Um, I also wanted to bring this up, kind of off topic, but I'm just curious for my own sake. I know that you have a lot of family in Hawaii, and
Yeah.
all the fires that happened over there. Were they affected? Were they okay? How did you feel about that?
No, I mean, honestly, my most of my family's on the Big Island,
Okay.
so like they just got a lot of smoke. If anything, I don't know very many people on Maui, but yeah, that was unfortunate. That sucks. That was so bad. Like, and it happened a few weeks after I left too.
I know. I was like, damn.
Yeah, it's sad. There's so many people that are still missing right now too. I saw some footage. Yeah, it sucks.
Okay, cool. I just was curious about that.
No,
So I was like,
yeah,
oh shit.
I was lucky that nobody in my family was involved in that. But yeah, it's unfortunate.
It's a nightmare because you're literally on an island.
It
Like
looked
you're,
like a scene out of like hell or something like that, some
yeah,
kind of fucking movie, because it was just like engulfed in flames and stuff. It was so bad.
so bad. Cool. I just see Ben Keltner joined us, and we just got a few minutes left.
Okay.
But I did want to just kind of touch back and kind of emphasize like what a pillar of the San Diego community you are, because you have been around for a while, but you've also kind of not just stuck doing the stand-up comedy. You've added to the community by creating shows, creating quality shows, kind of nurturing some of the funnier, newer comics. And I'm sure, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that you're sitting there like, Daddy Chris and all the little baby comics gather around you and you're giving them comedy advice. But I know that they're gleaning this from you, this information and this wisdom from you. And I saw you also take newer comics on the road, like Ben Keltner.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
is there any differences in when you're booking a show with new comics versus going on tour with new comics? Is that criteria?
Uh, Criteria?
Just like your
Uh,
personal, like, if I'm going to be on a road with this person.
oh yeah. No, I mean, there's definitely I got to feel comfortable with you if we clicked on a personal level. Yeah, for sure. Like you're getting more likely gonna go out with me if I just like you as a person. Not, yeah, necessarily. You're not even the funniest, but I just like you around. I like your work ethic. I
Yeah.
mean, everybody I took on the road recently, yeah, they're funny guys, and I respect them. Um, but yeah, I don't have too much of a, I don't know, what's
Be a good
the
hang
word?
and be funny.
Yeah, just be good. hang and be funny. That's it. Don't like, because it is a lot. Sometimes 2 or 3 weeks on the road, and if you're with a person that's just always irritable and not like fun to be around, yeah, that shit sucks. I'd rather have somebody who's a good hang versus somebody who's like super funny but he's a dick.
Yeah. I always wonder
So,
that.
and that's literally across the board where I can see like I'm a no one in the large spectrum of stuff, but like I've seen headliners talk on several podcasts and just be like, yeah, dude, like sometimes it's like I just like hanging out with the guy. He's adequate. He's not gonna ruin your show, and I like him around, and that holds so much value. you know,
Yeah.
just don't be a fucking dick.
Right.
You can go real far, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I always wonder that because I'm like, all right, because I do in my mind, I equivocate like comics a lot to musicians, and anytime musicians are around each other for too long, they're just gonna fight and blah blah blah. Oh wait, we got somebody asking about Tasteless Gentleman. Who is this?
Oh, okay.
Munir Berry.
Okay.
Am I saying that right? When are you back on the Tasteless Gentleman?
I don't know. I haven't been on like 4 months, dude. Tell Alex to put me on. What's going on, Alex?
No, I need to hit him up.
Yeah, no. I hopefully soon. They're originally a 5-person podcast with it's like Scoops, Dom, Alex, and Shoni, and then they had Bradley for a long time, and so I was pretty much just filling in a lot of the times because they were a 5-person podcast. Bradley wasn't around, so I just kept filling in for a while, and then now Bradley's back, but then now they just do 2, 3 per. It just depends. Well, hopefully I can get on there soon.
Yeah,
Those guys are fun. They're so fun to be around. They're good guys.
it looks like they recently changed their like studio setup too. Like I saw
Yeah,
some recently.
yeah. It looks nice and professional now for sure. I like the new studio getup. So hurry up, Alex. I'm trying to get
I
on.
know. I actually haven't talked to him in a while. I think I made fun of one of his memes a while ago, but
Yeah.
that's about it. He says filling in or carrying the show.
Sometimes depends on the show.
Yeah, I don't know. I know Sarah R.W. was on there too. Those are probably some of my favorite episodes for sure.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see them go through lineup changes and because Shoni, I always tell Alex this, and I'm sure Shoni is a great person in person, but I always hated him on the podcast.
Okay. All right.
I'm like, he's so annoying. He's so arrogant. He's always picking on Alex. I'm like, stop being mean to Alex.
Yeah.
But he's like,
Well, he's going. Tony, you're going deaf. I'm calling you out. You're becoming an old man.
Yeah. So I don't know. That would be cool to see you guys on there again. Yeah, I haven't seen it, watched it in a while, but definitely one of my favorite podcasts. Why don't you do more podcasts with the San Diego comics anyway? Like Diego and Carlos and.
Yeah, I guess I just haven't been approached or whatever. Or I haven't asked.
Diego, if you're still watching, have Chris on your show. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely, if I have the time, I'm open and willing to do a podcast. I don't mind. I'll definitely do it.
You're like, I don't want to do that shit. I'm here involunteering you.
I love Diego. I love Carlos. They're so fun. They're fun to be around. They're good dudes.
Would you ever do something like that on your own?
A podcast on my own? I don't know, maybe. I still have that podcast with Jim Pine, which we haven't dropped an episode in a while. Bad Dads. We were nominated for Best San Diego podcast for some reason on the Reader, which is cool.
I want you to know that when I made that post, I went to Spotify and looked up, and you guys hadn't updated since February. So I was like, can't do it.
Let's go. Yeah, we took a big we were really good about it, and then like we both just get caught up with stuff.
I love listening to it when you guys post. You guys are really funny together.
Yeah, we're gonna drop. Okay, we're dropping a podcast this week, so we're back. We're back.
Cool. Good. Yeah. And yeah, you've been friends with Jim Pine for a while too.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I've known Jim since he started. 5 or 6 years ago when we were in the Madhouse, like in the mall. Funny guy, man. He's an old man, but he's good. He's still good.
How old is he?
He's like 50 or 70. I really don't know. I'm not good with age.
70.
75-year-old man.
to tag him on this.
Please, let him know. Jim, you're old. You're an old man. No, Jim is
Uh,
he's an anomaly too, man, because he could, you know, he doesn't do old man shit, like as far as comedy. And I think that was pivotal, like in his development, that he was around a bunch of younger people, because he's been able to figure out to be relatable to a younger audience, being as old as he is. Not that he's like the oldest man in the world, but like there's comics that have been out there, and I don't want to name any names, but like they've been doing it for like 30 years, and you're like, oh, you're literally just doing old man comedy, right? Like, but there's none of that with Jim, 100%.
yeah, you're right. Actually, I haven't really because I do really find him funny. And I think that is so true. People start to kind of like pigeonhole themselves as they get older, and like, oh, I'm a dad now. Like, yeah, you guys will dad. You can have dad. You're not telling like dad jokes. That's not your persona. That's not the actual whole personality getting on
Yeah,
stage.
exactly.
Yeah, that's so true. Jay Knight Ride says Chris giving off Jesus vibes. Yes.
It's actually pronounced Jesus. Thank you.
He's the comedy Christ. What we're doing now.
No.
Yeah. Is there anything else?
Yeah. Just a disciple in the comedy gods. All right, that's it. Just a
Oh,
disciple.
oh, perfect. Yes, the humility. The humility is strong with this one. All right, love that. Thank you so much, Chris. I think I'm all out of questions. Is there anything else that we should know about you? Anything that I didn't get to go over?
No. Just that it's sometime at the end of this month, or maybe the next. Maybe, I don't know. I'm dropping that crowdwork special that you saw in June. It's gonna be dropped. It's gonna be on YouTube. Gonna work on clipping a bunch of stuff up, and I'm gonna be dropping that soon. So just keep an eye out for that. Follow me on all the socials. It's the same thing. Chris E Comedy, YouTube, TikTok. It's all the same username.
Cool. And I don't think I follow you on YouTube. You have
Okay, yeah. Like and subscribe, dude. I'm
Yeah.
trying to build a following there now too.
I know having to keep up with all the socials, but you're pretty good at it. That's why I wonder how the hell you manage your time. Because I'm like, how do you not just get sucked into, well, you don't reply to anybody. That's it. You leave everyone on red.
I do. Oh yeah. And there's another. I do leave a lot of people on red, and it's nothing personal. But I'm a moron, and sometimes my ADHD brain just takes it everywhere. Okay, here's another one. Next Tuesday, Madhouse, I'm doing a special podcast slash show. It's called Stood Up Live.
Oh yes. I think that's the whole reason I invited you on here. I'm so sorry. I wanted to talk about this. Okay, go.
No worries. It's Stood Up Live. It's dating game / Kill Tony together. We'll have a panel of comics, and then a bachelorette, right? And then the bachelorette is going to watch 3 comics do 2 or 3 minutes of stand-up, interview them accordingly afterwards, and then she picks somebody. So that's kind of the show. And then we flip it, and it's a guy and 3 women. That's pretty much the night. And it's a comedy show / podcast / singles event, because even after the show, the bar's gonna be open until like 12.
Nice. Oh my God, that sounds so much fun. And that's at Madhouse. What's the date?
September 19th, 8 p.m. It's a Tuesday. So industry folks, I know you're off, so come out.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, dang it. I'm going to be on vacation that week. But I would have driven down there to go see that. Who's on the lineup?
So I can't tell you the comics.
Oh, okay.
But it's me, Jim, and Jacob Johnston are the panel.
Perfect.
We're the panel. And then we still need to pick a bachelor. But yeah, 6 very funny comedians from the scene. Trying to find some love,
Oh, Lord. That's this is going to be a podcast, right? So I can still catch it later.
Yeah, we are going to be recording all of it, so it'll be a full-on podcast with video and everything.
Awesome, cool. Well, I'm excited for that. I hope that all goes well.
Yeah,
sounds like it's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. It's definitely not the first time this kind of event has existed, but it's the first time it has me and Jacob and Jim Pine, all the fun dudes.
Super funny dudes. Yeah. Awesome. That's exciting. All right, cool. Thank you so much again, Chris. Everybody go follow him, Chris E. Comedy. Check him out on YouTube. Yeah. I've never plugged the YouTube because I don't think I've gone to it, so I'm going to now. And yeah, we just wish you all the best of luck in everything that you do. Don't forget about us when you're big and famous, and have a good rest of your day.
Okay. For sure. I can't promise anything because I'm literally waiting to like forget all the little people as soon as I'm done. But I'm glad you said that because now I'm gonna double
Oh,
think
I will
that.
remind you. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I will probably forget too. Okay, bye.
Bye. Thank you.